We are anonymous. No handlers, no permission slips, no loyalty to power. And tonight, the Epstein files are back in the spotlight for one reason. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene, one of Trump's loudest former loyalists, is now describing a moment that sounds like a confession without a signature. Another day, another bombshell revelation. That spells bad news for Donald Trump as far as the Epstein files are concerned. This time, it didn't come from a Democrat. It came from inside Trump's own orbit through Marjorie Taylor Greene, in reporting tied to a New York Times profile and echoed across major outlets. According to that reporting, Greene says the decades Jeffrey Epstein spent evading real accountability for exploiting and abusing countless girls and young women while building a fortune and moving through elite circles represents everything rotten about Washington. And she claims that in September, she sat in a closed-door House Oversight Committee meeting and spoke with multiple survivors for the first time. She noticed something most politicians pretend not to notice. The women had paid their own way to come to Washington. She watched some of them trembling. She watched some of them crying as they told their stories. And she says their accounts struck her as completely believable. Greene has said she was never abused herself, but she knew women who had been in her own small way. She later told the reporter she understood what it feels like for a woman to stand up to a powerful man. Then came the part that matters for what we are watching right now. After that hearing, Greene held a news conference where she threatened to identify some of the men who had harmed these women. Greene says she didn't actually know the names herself, but she could have gotten them from the victims. And that is when Trump allegedly picked up the phone. Greene says Trump called her to express his displeasure. She was in her Capitol Hill office. A staff member reportedly said everyone in the suite of rooms could hear him yelling because Greene had him on speakerphone. Greene says she was confused by his interference. Why would Trump insert himself into this? Why would he be angry at the idea of naming abusers? And then comes the line that should freeze your blood. Because it is not policy, it is not principle, it is not concern for victims, it is not due process. It is protection. Greene says Trump replied, "My friends will get hurt." Greene also claims she urged Trump to invite some of Epstein's female victims to the Oval Office. She says Trump angrily told her they had done nothing to deserve that honor. And Greene says that was the last conversation she ever had with him. "My friends will get hurt." That one sentence pretty much sums up the Epstein files problem as far as Trump is concerned. If you've been wondering why it always feels like Donald Trump never had any real intention of full transparency, you're not imagining it. Because the public line is always, "I'm the outsider, I'm the fighter, I'll take on the swamp." But the private line, according to Greene, is "My friends will get hurt." And that's the point. Trump campaigned like a man who would hold rich and powerful men accountable. But the reality over and over is that Trump serves rich and powerful men who operate above consequences, people who may include him. And yes, Trump's long-documented social connection to Epstein has been reported for years, including the fact that Trump publicly praised Epstein in a 2002 New York Magazine quote that's been repeatedly republished by major outlets. Let's stop pretending this is complicated. Trump is in the Epstein story, whether he likes it or not, because the record shows he socialized with Epstein and spoke about him glowingly. Major reporting has highlighted Trump's past praise, including the terrific guy quote and the remark about Epstein liking younger women. And there is another detail that keeps coming back like a stain you can't scrub out. Virginia Giuffre has said she was recruited while working at Mar-a-Lago, approached there by Ghislaine Maxwell, and pulled into Epstein's world. That connection has been a major part of the public narrative around how Epstein preyed on vulnerable young women and why powerful places and powerful people matter in this story. Now ask yourself something simple. Do you usually heap compliments on people whose actions you truly abhor? Or do you do that when you don't mind what they're doing, when they're useful, when they're part of your world? Here is what makes this even more shameless. Trump didn't just have proximity to this issue. He exploited it. He understood how much disgust people feel about Epstein. He understood it was politically potent. So he leaned into it in public, talking like he was the guy who would shine light into the darkness. You've heard the clip. He talks about Epstein's island and calls it a cesspool. He says, "Just ask Prince Andrew." He performs outrage. He performs distance. He performs disgust. And then he stocks his political ecosystem with people who built their brands doing the same performance. The kind of voices who say on camera, "Release the list." The kind of voices who say the FBI is sitting on it. The kind of voices who say it's evil to protect the world's foremost predator, and then ask why the FBI is protecting the largest-scale predator in human history. The kind of voices who then answer their own question because of who is on that list. That is the message Trump broadcast to his supporters. I feel your pain. I'm going to act. Meaning Trump knew better. He knew better. And according to this entire pattern, he still chose to defy the people who believed him, because he was never going to burn down the network that protects his circle. In Green's telling, he said it out loud. My friends will get hurt. And this is not an isolated trick. It's a recurring theme. He swore he understood people struggling with prices. He talked about groceries, rent, housing, eggs, playing the populist routine down to the smallest detail. Then critics point to his actions and say he pursued policies that drove costs higher and protected the wealthy first. Whether you agree with that critique or not, the point is the same pattern. He says whatever lands then governs for the elite. And Trump doesn't even hide who he serves when he thinks the cameras will love it. Remember that moment he bragged about billionaire gains in the Oval Office, praising Charles Schwab like it was a trophy? Reports circulated the clip where Trump said Schwab made billions in a day, while millions of regular people are drowning. That is your populist champion, and people across the spectrum have been saying it. Labor leaders said it. The UAW president, Sean Fain, publicly called out Trump using the line Donald Trump is a scab, and more recently voices outside Washington echoed the same point in plain language. The public figure connected to that quote is Texas State Rep. James Tallarico, who has spoken in interviews accusing Trump of hiding the Epstein files and calling Trump a con man. Then you have the Oversight Committee's top Democrat on this issue. Rep. Robert Garcia, ranking member of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, has released statements accusing Trump of reversing course and describing a cover-up around the Epstein files and warning the administration has tried to shut down the investigation. So here's where we land. From union leadership to young candidates and rising voices to ranking members of committees to Trump's own former loyalists like Marjorie Taylor Greene, the same conclusion keeps forming. Trump is serving himself and the powerful friends he protects, not the voters he used as a stage. And when Greene says Trump shouted and warned her, "My friends will get hurt," she's not just describing a fight. She's describing the motive. The con is up. Everybody can see it. And the longer this goes on, the clearer it becomes that the Epstein files fight is not just about documents. It's about whether powerful people can keep building a system where consequences stop at the edge of wealth and influence. So here's the call. Don't let this story be buried under outrage cycles and distractions. Talk about it. Share it. Demand transparency that protects victims while refusing to protect predators and enablers. Push your representatives, red or blue, to stop treating accountability like a bargaining chip. And if you want more coverage like this, support independent voices you trust, follow this channel, and stay connected, because in an environment where powerful administrations can pressure platforms and shape what gets amplified, your attention is the one thing they can't control unless you hand it over. We are anonymous, and we do not forget.